Mic check, mic check. Yo, welcome back to the 5 to Life Dynasty League. Shout out to the commish, Master E, aka Third and 10. Shout out to first of all, shout out to the fools who are listening and made bye week. Congratulations, you made your bye week into the playoffs. You can rest easy. You can watch how all these other fools fucking just stress over the fuck. Meanwhile, you sip on a beer and you can finally be a fan of football, just football that week. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the people who did make their playoffs, who made their playoffs like last week, last minute, like last drive type shit. Shout out to y'all, and better luck next time. If you didn't make the playoff, if your league has like, still has rewards for the consolation, just keep going at it. I know a lot of people once they don't make the playoffs, they just say fuck it because some leagues are like that. If you have a league and if you're like a manager, I would say try to get everyone involved as much as possible, even through the playoffs. That way, still makes things easier. A lot of people think like if you don't make the playoffs that you shouldn't fuck with the waivers. Fuck that, bro. Fuck that. I say leave the waivers on. That's how we do it too. We don't really have prizes for like the consolation rounds here, but we're in a dynasty league where we keep 10 men and we draft another 10 men. And so depending on where you come, because some people might tank, this is how it is right now. This is how it is. This is how the draft next year will be. 1, 2, 3, and 4 like that. But we trade draft picks during the whole season. In case you guys don't know what that is. I know a lot of people do that shit, but I'm just explaining for the fools and ladies who don't know what that is, But one of our I know what's your most like what are your guys's penalties for coming in like last place? I know a league with a couple of the homies where they I'm not gonna say no names and shit, but where they made the last place team have to go on the corner and sell oranges in a dress. That's the funniest shit. That's the funniest shit. We just got money. This is turning into just a money league, It ain't no other shit. People are just making their own bets on own team. But this is the dynasty league that I've been in, that I've been talking to you guys about. So I'm gonna move forward a little bit with this one. Before I move forward into the matchups, I'm just gonna roster bait a little bit for you guys. I just want you guys to respect some shit real quick. I just want you guys to respect some shit. Let me show you some shit. So at the beginning, you last year, this is our second year into the Dynasty League, you draft. And that draft is not like any other draft where you just pick the best players and go through your whole season with basically just, waiver pickups, trades, and shit like that. This is where, you have implications. Ours is for the next 5 years. I don't know if they're going to do it more. All these years, you will basically have the same core team that you have drafted with that main draft. So if you didn't do good that draft, you've been struggling a bit. Like, just a couple of, I was going to mention names, but I don't want to take anybody down this week. I don't want to give no shots because this is bye week, baby. This is bye week. So going into that, I had thinking in my mind, what is the worst position you could ever, like, what is the worst position in fantasy football? Number one, to not go off. To not be the worst is quarterbacks. Quarterbacks come and go. Number two, I said running backs because running backs have short lifespans. Like it's not a diss on running backs. I love running backs, but I'm saying it's true. Like a running back's life in the NFL isn't very long, and this is a 5-year thing. So you can always pick up another running back. You can always pick up another receiver. You're streaming defenses and kickers. So to me, the answer was easily tight ends. Like tight ends are so hard to come by, and tight ends are very like reliable, like on teams. They could be with the squad for minutes. And this is what I was thinking, like going into it. Like it was either between George Kittle or Travis Kelce. Now Kittle just had, this wasn't last season. This was the season before that. Kittle had like a good rookie season. Like it was a dope rookie season. Better than average tight end. Like you knew he was going to be like high draft pick, probably not number one, especially like, well, at the time people wouldn't think that, you're looking at it right now. And then Travis Kelce had just had I think he was the leading tight end, and Mahomes just lost. I think Mahomes had just lost in the playoffs. And you knew that team was going to light up with Tyreek Hill and shit. So I thought to myself, who was the most safest pick? So I picked up number 1, Travis Kelce. For those of y'all who picked up number 1, Travis Kelce, overall in a dynasty league, you are sitting pretty right now, because for a whole 2 seasons, except for like 2 games, which is the bye weeks of Travis Kelce, and then you take what you get every other time. This motherfucker has been the most consistent. So I'm going to have to make him so far my MVP player, like as fuck. If you're looking at it this season now, if you don't have like Travis Kelce, it's basically just Travis Kelce this whole season. But there's tight ends who are like dope, but they're a far second, like Darren Waller, maybe Mark Andrews, and Hawkinson. Like Hawkinson's probably the closest one. Kittle's injured, so definitely my MVP, number 1 overall. Number 2 overall, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. This is we don't do full PPR. We do regular. We do. It's PPR and then half stand with what the fuck is wrong with me with half standard. So I knew if I picked up running backs who could catch the ball and who could run, then those points would come and go as they do every season in any fantasy football league. So with my number 2 pick, I was like, you know what? Let me get a receiver. And as you're going to see my number 2 pick not in here because it was T.Y. Hilton. He had Andrew Luck. And now you guys are thinking, if this was your first year playing fantasy football, you would ask yourself, why would you pick T.Y. Hilton number 2 overall? Like, why wouldn't you go Devontae? Well, first, Devontae Adams was gone. All the dope top receivers at the time, trust me, were gone. They're gone already. Like, everybody was gone who you could think of. They're gone. This is the 2nd round in my dynasty pick. And I think I had like last pick. So I had like back-to-back picks, which was good. It worked out. I picked up T.Y. Hilton at the beginning of the season. I definitely knew that Andrew Luck, yes, this is Andrew Luck reference. Remember that guy? I picked him up thinking that was going to be the number 1 target because it was. As soon as Andrew Luck retires, he retires. I think this was like I think this was about a week before the football season started last year. For those of y'all who remember when all you Colts fans, shout out to Ray, he's a Colts fan. When exactly did Andrew Luck retire? I don't know. But he retired, and I was like, wait a minute. This fucked things up for me. This makes my, it doesn't make me feel good having T.Y. Hilton no more. Even though Jacoby Brissett is dope, it didn't make me feel good. I wanted something more secure, more reliable, and this is what I did. I looked to my managers, and I seen who is a Colts fan. Who's a Colts fan? Because T.Y. is, everybody loved T.Y. If you don't remember, T.Y. Hilton was an elite receiver, even for fantasy. Like, he was an elite fantasy receiver. I offered, so I traded Ray, who is now a team has no name, for Allen Robinson. I traded Allen Robinson, and ever since then, Allen Robinson, he hasn't been the number 1 receiver. He hasn't been like the stud receiver, but he's been consistent as fuck for 2 seasons. So my number 2 MVP player on my squad is going to have to be Allen Robinson the 2nd right now. Shout out to you. My squad wouldn't be where it is without that fruit, low-key. Yeah, but my 3rd best player who I also want to talk about too, it's not Lamar Jackson. Even though Lamar Jackson had the fucking craziest season last season, yeah, I still didn't leave. It was a tie between Dalvin Cook and Josh Allen, but now I'm going to give it to Josh Allen because last season Dalvin Cook got injured for me and made me lose the playoffs, and I don't want that shit to happen again. Anyways, Josh Allen. This fool, no one had faith in this fool. I drafted this fool his rookie season. I remember like 3 years ago or so. I picked him up actually on waivers in a regular league. And the rushing was there, and he was always like an 18-point, 17-point fantasy player. I made sure when I picked up Lamar Jackson, I picked him up very late because I like the rush ability. For those of you guys who heard me say it before, I like rushing quarterbacks because that's where the points accumulate from. Lamar Jackson. And I'm just gonna throw this out there. All my league managers, league mates were laughing at me when they were like, Lamar Jackson, why would you pick him up? In the back of my mind, I'm thinking like, I just got to steal. You guys are thinking that, oh, you're just saying you never know because you had a good. I drafted him, bro. I drafted him. Like I drafted him to be my starting quarterback for my squad because of the rushing ability. Like, did I think he was gonna be the number one overall? Like the player in fantasy? No, you never think that unless you have someone who has already done it. But I thought it was gonna be solid. But I needed a good backup. I needed someone I know I could kind of rely on, a big, strong dude who, accuracies. If you don't got legs with your accuracy, there's only one person to do that, and that's Tom Brady. And I wasn't about to pick up Tom Brady in a dynasty league. You know what I'm saying? Who's young? Another young person. Oh wait, the motherfucking stallion, Josh Allen, baby. Picked him up before, picked him up that season. Last season, he was dope. Played him, I think, like one game. He was just legit. This season, the script has flipped between Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. I feel way more comfortable going with Josh Allen this season. But even last season, he was a great backup just in case anything had happened. So my third MVP is Josh Allen. Thank you, Stallion. Thank you for pulling me through. This is my second bye week in a row. For those of y'all who don't know, my second bye week, number one overall. I think same record too, 11-2, or I think last year I might have had 12-1. I'm not too sure, but I did lose. That's what I'm here to say. This is what I'm here to say. I did lose, and it doesn't stop right here. The bye week. If you guys are relaxing on your bye week, yeah, relax a little bit. See what happens on the waivers because they're planning for this week. And I'm just gonna say this too because I want people who are not in my league to like actually know this too, and you probably already do. Someone might get dropped by Saturday or Sunday morning or even Monday evening that could be useful for the coming weeks. So yeah, we got to plan for week 15, but also you got to kind of plan for week 16. I know that a lot of people are thinking like, nah, you go all in on 1 week, which is true. I'm not telling you not to, but all season, both season longs, I've planned for the week ahead and I was ready. Like I was ready for so I have been planning for week 15. I kind of knew I was going to get the bye week. I mean, just look at these points, almost 300 more than the second place points. I kind of knew I was going to get that bye week, so I planned for week 15. So I'm kind of all right. But Antonio Gibson's hurt right now, so I've been pivoting running backs, and I'm thinking about who I start. I just started James White today, just because, you know what I'm saying. Just because I'm on my bye week, like why not? What the fuck is this fantasy jockey shit? So I had a pivot. Now I'm looking at players. Picked up Wilson Jr., picked up Michael P. Ryan. Was thinking about picking up someone else. I'm not going to say the name because someone else might get him just to play keep away. But yeah, man, I'd say shout out to those 2-3 players that I mentioned that have been keeping me in the game. Shout out to this shows good manager skills. Like I'm at platinum level right now. Just my rating is 850. Like just give that respect. But this is the only thing that matters. First place, second place, third place. Like I lost in both games. Like either way, how I spin it, there's no way I can spin it that I'm not in fourth place. You know what I'm saying? So these need to come up. I need one of these. Shout out to Champ. So let's just get into I'm done roster baiting, ladies and gentlemen. I'm done roster baiting. Oh, and another thing is that the league has labeled me like the worst trade offerers and trade maker as ever, me. But all my starting receivers, Terry McLaurin, Allen Robinson, Keenan Allen, Devontae Parker, they're all from trades. So, thank y'all. All right. First matchup, 6th place versus 3rd place. Congratulations to both of y'all. Shout out to Master E, the commish, 3rd and 10. Shout out to Jack, Zeked out, Jackie boy, my rival. Glad you made it here again. I'll see you at the dance, hopefully. Going into 3rd and 10 squad, like I said, I think he should be the favorite if he gets past. But this season has been fucked. This season has been fucked with COVID, with late injuries, with illnesses, with personal absences, personal leaves, shit like that, coaching changes. You know how fantasy, how regular fantasy football season is supposed to go. Hold up, let me drink some beer. Cheers to y'all. My bad, that was good. Not a sponsor. um, so things could happen. Uh, Tom Brady versus Minnesota should be a fucking smash. Like I said, I like Tom Brady going forward. I do not want to face. I do not want to face 3rd and 10, and I do not want to face a team I have no name. They're still, my bad. Zeke Dowd and El Come Tortas are, they're gonna put up points too. They're not scary at all. None of these teams are scary. Comeback Crisis Squad. None of these teams. I mean, none of these teams are scary. None of these teams are not scary. But 3rd and 10 and team has no name have the most best matchups actually. But this matchup against Minnesota should be a smash play. But the word on the block is that Mike Evans isn't gonna play. So I think that's going to be, more of a ground game. If 3rd and 10 can lower his what the fuck is it? God damn it, I'm already going dead after that beer. Lower expectations for Tom Brady. I think he should be all right because he has to pivot in another way, which is Julio Jones is going to be out. Now let's check their bench. Here's one of the things too. So Julio Jones is out, but let's say he wasn't out. Let's say he was questionable, maybe even doubtful. Let's say that. Are you starting Julio Jones over Corey Davis against Jacksonville? I would pivot. That's the pivot I would go to. Like 100%. That is what I would go to because this motherfucker's getting targeted. And when he's not getting targeted, like he still gets you 8 points. He still gets you 9 points. But on his big targets, 29 points, 22 points, 12 points, 13 points. If he can get your targets basically over eight or more targets, he's good. Yeah, you got the big problem is that you do have Derrick Henry versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, but that's right. So you're at this point now where Julio Jones is out. Who else do you think 3rd and 10 should play? Maybe you can mix it around where he puts Mike Davis in, where he throws Gordon in. He can make it work for him. But I think that's where he goes because all of his pivots are pretty good. Like Deontay Johnson, you always starting him like no matter what. Yeah, he's gonna get his piece of the pie, but you're right there at you're getting the targets. Fuck, I'm fucking up right there. So. And I don't think it's necessarily a must win for Pittsburgh. I just think they really want to win, like against Buffalo. Like that would be a big win for them. Like last week's win for them, yeah, it was a good game. No offense, like to the Washington football team. I think they're a dope ass squad, but I think Pittsburgh, like it was kind of fluky. It was kind of like they got that out of their system and shit. So Julio Jones is out. I would definitely play Corey Davis, but it's up to Commish. I'm not saying I lost last season, so don't listen to me. I lost last season. But other than that, Devontae Adams versus Detroit, Tyler Lockett versus the Jets, Raheem Mostert versus Washington. Oh, that one might be a little sketchy, but still nice. Jonathan Taylor versus Las Vegas, Zach Ertz versus the tight end giving New Orleans, Deontay Johnson, you started him, San Francisco. Like all those matchups are just fucking great. Like they're good as fuck. So if he has any other pivots, I think that'd be it. But he has a bit of a dilemma because Melvin Gordon versus Carolina should be all right, and it looks like it's gonna be a rainy day. So it depends. It depends on how the quarterbacks are feeling that day, and it depends how the score is going into like even the half, because that's when like Melvin Gordon like makes his money like at the half when they get that on the red zone, they get a touchdown. But the other play too was like Mike Davis. Mike Davis. They pretty much Christian McCaffrey is out this week. McCaffrey owners are pissed off. I would be too. But Mike Davis should be a cool play. Like, yeah, Denver's run defense is good, but he's going to get that load. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he might be a little bit touchdown dependent, but I think Kamish has to ask himself, 3rd and 10 has to ask himself, does he want to swing for the fence or does he want to play it safe? I think that's the question he has to ask himself. What the fuck is wrong with me? But yeah, that's Kamish's matchup. On the other side, Zeke out, Jackie Boy playing Herbert. Herbert had the horrible game last week. Seems to me that you could just throw that shit away because in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, some, I don't know, above 5+ games, His worst game before last week was against Buffalo, and that's a good defense, and he had 17 points. This was against New England. I believe it was no, it was at home, but it's against New England. Yeah, I mean a rookie quarterback versus the veteran, the king of kings, fucking Bill Belichick. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things I think you could throw out. He has to throw out too. Atlanta's not scary. They're not scary at all. He doesn't. I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to play Roethlisberger against Buffalo. There's no other better matchup that's on the waivers. You're playing fucking Herbert. Like, I think he's gonna ride this squad pretty much until the wheels fall off and they take him to his glory. Tyreek Hill, I'm not even gonna begin. Fuck him. He's so good. This motherfucker, you're starting him no matter what. The question is Chris Godwin. If Mike Evans is out, Chris Godwin immediately bumps up to the one target. With Tom Brady, normally on his teams where he's clicking, he's not necessarily targeting one target. He's targeting multiple targets. They're going off the run game, unless you have like a Randy Moss, a Gronkowski, which he does have, a Mike Evans, it's being spread around more. You've seen it all season. Chris Godwin is basically, he hasn't been the Godwin of last year, but he's still a solid receiver. The only person I'm worried about is how is Antonio Brown going to come into play? I've been calling it. I've been listening to other like fantasy leaguers, like not in my league, other podcast fools and chicks saying every single week, this could be the week for Antonio Brown. This could be the week for Antonio Brown. And you know what? I'm going to say it again. This could be the week for Antonio Brown. If he steals any of that thunder, I think Godwin might be in trouble. But that's the only way, because Gronkowski is script right now. He's in that script. He's not like the number one target where we got to get it to him. He's scripted right now, and Godwin is the veteran on that team. Well, I mean, the veteran of that team receiving core. If Mike Evans is out, you get me. But yeah, that's the only way I see Godwin not having a good day, because they are going to go for the run, but Godwin should be fine. Marquise Brown versus Cleveland. Like, all right, like, look. I remember he picked him up. He drafted him last year in the opening draft of the Dynasty. He has not been great. He hasn't been great. What you paid for, pretty much. He didn't pay for that much. He drafted him late. Like he was a rookie last year. And that's when we draft rookies. We draft rookies unless they have a high upside. We draft them later in the rounds. Like, all of us do that. It's pretty much like an unwritten rule. But he drafted him. He balled out last year. This year, not so much. I think it's just the team. Like, the team is they're not clicking as well like as they did last year. But against Cleveland on Monday night, it seems like there's a lot of fucking players like Cam Akers last night against the fucking Patriots, where the fantasy playoffs start, and then you start to see tides turning. You start to see, like last week, we had the 9th place team beat Commish, and by the most points I think fucking ever. Like, you start to see things like that. Like Cam Akers last night was clearly the fucking number one back. Clearly. My question is, it's on a Monday night. It's prime time. He could be down by like 15. He could be down by like 15. Does Marquise Brown take Zeke out to week 15? Like, that is the question for me. Like, he's been horrible all season. He had gotten plus 15 twice. It's a good matchup. Lamar Jackson has been playing well. That's going to be it. I think that's going to be it. That's going to be the deciding factor on always those primetime games. You're looking at the TV. You're glued to the TV because you want to see what the fuck is going down, So I'm curious about that. I'm curious about Marquise Brown's situation. James Robinson, automatic start. Gronkowski, automatic start. Higgins, I'm not sure if he wants to pivot. I would pivot Mike Williams. I would pivot to Mike Williams just because it's just the quarterback matchup. Who do I trust more? And I trust Herbert more. I would pivot. Like I said, my rule is don't start too many players, but this is the playoffs. You swinging for the fences, homie. You going for that home run. Like you're trying to win. Um, he took Mixon off the IR. I think he's going to come off, but he still has another slot if he could put it back. But I would switch with Mike Williams. But you could tell the person I jumped over intentionally to talk about last is Ezekiel Elliott. The player his team is named after, Zeked out, his number one overall pick of the dynasty, Zeke, uh, versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Not scary at all. For some reason, I don't think Zeke is going to have a good game. For some fucking reason, like it's just one of those things in the pit of your stomach. Like I said, those tides are turning. He hasn't had a good solid game since. I mean, he has a good since week 11. Last week it was all right, but like a big game, a big Zeke game where it's like a 20, a 17, like but solid attempts and targets. They're coming up now. It's just the team is a whole different squad now. They're not Dak Prescott's Cowboys. They haven't been, obviously, since Dak went down. Even you had Andy Dalton, get injured. I think he had like a concussion or something. They beat Minnesota. They lost to Washington horribly. They lost to Baltimore. All defenses are pretty cool, like Pittsburgh. They have played against Baltimore, Washington, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Washington. Like all those defenses are pretty good. Now they're going to go up against a horrible Cincinnati defense. I think this team clicks a little bit more, and I'm really, really looking forward to see how Pollard, I believe his name is Anthony Pollard. I'm fucking brain dead right now. Pollard is gonna do. I'm curious to see that shit. It looks like to me, I saw a couple of plays where that they worked and they were targeting him, and that fool looks, he looks like a fresh running back with fresh legs. Zeke has been beat up. Is Zeke out? He's questionable. It's one of those things. Are you gonna not start your number one overall pick? It's like that Julio thing. If Julio was questionable or even doubtful, would you start Corey Davis? If Zeke's out, would you start anybody else? Like, if you had anybody else, he has Benny Snell, Joe Mixon, or Giovanni Bernard. I think you just got to play who plays that game. But Zeke, you're not going to sit him if he's playing. Me personally, I would pick up Pollard, however you say it, just off that safety. But Zeke out is that safety pick. So yeah. I mean, it's going to be a tough one. So I'm not going to give my prediction right now because of playoffs. I don't want to give bad juju on that team. You guys decide these favorites. I've been giving you guys predictions on the matchups all season. This is a whole different game now. I want to give these fools their respect in making playoffs. So those are their matchups. Y'all tell me who you think is going to win. All right. Next matchup. The defending champ, defending his title once again, or no, wait, not once again, for the whole season he defended it, but now he has a chance to solidify himself in the rankings of a back-to-back league winner. El Come Tortas, defending champ, Sergio, and the team has no name, managed by Raymond. Champ, he called me last night. I think I could say it. He called me and he said, like, what, look, because we had texted before on some things, and he called me. He said, like, well, should I start Cam Newton? Basically, this is all what it boiled down to, basically. And I was like, you know what, man? Like, if you don't feel comfortable starting Cam Newton, don't start him. Don't start him. He has most of his points come like on the run. He hasn't really been passing good. I gave some pretty much good, solid advice. And a part of it is I don't want to face race team. A team has no name, but that's besides the point. And he said, like, well, who would you pick up? Who do you think? And ultimately, we came down to the decision that, well, not we. He came down to the decision because he picked him up as we're talking. That shit was so funny. And he picked up Andy Dalton, and I think that's a good pickup. Solid pickup. Was on the waivers. If you have fab dollars and you were in the same situation as the champ here, I think you should go and pick up Andy Dalton. The last 3 weeks, he's been pretty all right. He's been all right. This is just if you don't have any other pivot. All right. So don't get mad at me. Don't start me. I don't want to hear no, oh, you think Andy Dalton's a fucking savior? He might be. He might be. He might be, dog. You know what I'm saying? 19, 13, 18 in the last 3 weeks going up against Cincy. Like I said, the Cowboys have been playing against pretty much good defenses, like good defenses. Yeah, they're getting beat, they're getting smashed, but they're seeing good defenses and fast. And that's the old thing, like the whole Dragon Ball thing, like where they're at the beginning of the season, you're like, what the fuck? I can't see them because they move fast. But then at the end of the season, you see them moving because your eyes are trained already to see fast things. And that's how I see how the Cowboys are now. Yeah, they might not win. They might win this game, actually. But I feel like they're just clicking already. They're about to click. You know, this is a game they should win. And Andy Dalton is going to be airing it out. I think he's going to be airing it out. And plus, you have that big playability with CeeDee Lamb, which he does have. This is something that you are looking at. If you don't have a better option at quarterback, I would definitely pivot for Andy Dalton. You're already swinging for the punches. You're swinging for the fences. You're fucking, you want that knockout. Yeah, you're going to get jabs because look at Cam Akers just put up 20 points. Derrick Henry's going to fucking beast. All these fucking Kyler Murray against the Giants. Like, I mean, all these things. It's like, it looks like, okay, something is going to happen where a player is not going to do good, and then the team's just going to run it up, and you're going to lose. So that pivots like that tell me, like, you know what? Fuck it. We're swinging for the fences. He's playing weak, and this is what you got to do. If you're in 5th place, 6th place, this is what the fuck you got to do. Because Champ, I think he's only had like the third or the 8th, my bad, the 8th like most points in the league, in our league, and he made it 5th. So he plays the matchups. He plays good. He makes good decisions, and with a little bit of luck. Like, let's be real, this is all fucking luck. We don't know what's going to happen, but big playability is going to be big for the Champ this week because the receiver had Mike Evans. He was questionable. It looks like he's going to, looks like right here, it's like he's pretty much healthy, but the word on the block is that he's not healthy, that he might not play. So I want to, he should be looking out for that. CeeDee Lamb, big playability. Shepard, you're going on the big playability. Carson, you're going on big playability. I say it like that because he's still a little injured. And he only had 8 attempts and 13 attempts since his injury. And then, that's the thing is, they're going against the Jets. Will they run up the score? Will they put in Carlos Hyde? Will they put in Travis Homer? Will they rest Chris Carson for Washington? You know what I'm saying? Like, will they do that? I think Chris Carson has a capped game, but he doesn't have a dud game. I think he gets you like 13, 12, like if he doesn't score twice and shit like that. Because he's still a little banged up, but pretty sure he's going to play. Pete Carroll loves him. I know Champ loves him, so lower those expectations and then move on. Wayne Gallman, you're fucking starting him. This has been a beast. And had he been starting all season, like, no offense to Saquon Barkley, like, no offense, but had he been starting all season, he would have probably been like James Robinson, where waiver pickup fantasy MVP, like that would have been his title if James Robinson didn't have it. So Wayne Gallman Jr., though, a great player. I think he should, you're not even worried anymore. Like, you ain't even worried anymore. Look at the shit. 13, 12, 14, 18, 16, 13. You're not worried anymore. He's getting attempts as long as he's healthy. He might score. He has that scoring ability. He runs with a fucking passion. Bruce Wayne Gallman Jr., great start. Here's where here's where the problem is. Here's where the dilemma is. He was talking to me about it too. Evan Ingram, obviously big play dude. He's a dope motherfucker. He's a beast of a tight end. I don't know why his numbers are his numbers, but it's a team effort too. You know what I'm saying? Not every great player can be as great as they can be on a whack ass squad. Hold on, let me just get a sip of my brewski. But you see obviously that he can have big playability on certain occasions. Especially, I don't know if Daniel Jones is gonna play. I don't have that shit up right now, but I would pivot to Logan Thomas. Thing about this is because Antonio Gibson is out, so their game plan has to switch. It's gonna have to be more of a pass heavy team right now because Yeah, Peyton Barber is a good running back. He's a professional running back, but he's not going to give you that Antonio Gibson type of game where he could catch. He could not only can he run and hit the hole, he can make people miss, and has that breakaway speed. So I think the game plan switches up a little bit. And last week, you seen this fool. I seen this fool make catches and he made some catches where he missed, where he tried to catch them, and it was just like, holy shit, it looked like they were targeting him, and he looked like he made a big effort to catch the ball. Played against Pittsburgh defense, who's probably the number one, number two defense all. San Francisco, they're going to be going up against Terry McLaurin. They're going to want to rush that pass rush. So I think dump off to McKissick, dump off to Logan Thomas and Sims. I think that is going to be the game plan, and I think Thomas has a big game next week. So that was the thing. That was his the dilemma, like we were talking about too. I don't think he will because he likes Ingram. He drafted him. That's his boy. Hey, and if you have a feeling, and if it's your squad, you got to do it. You got to do it. And there's no, there we go. Yeah, you got to do it. Josh Jacobs, I think he's questionable. I think he was leaning towards to being out. And with this, what I would do is I would say, fuck it, because he has Christian McCaffrey, who's probably not going to play. Josh Jacobs, I don't think he will play either. He doesn't have Mike Evans. I don't think he will play either. So I'm going to say, fuck it. Why not just throw the books in? He didn't pick up anybody else yet. There's some people who I think he could pick up, but I'm not going to do this. This is playoffs. I'm not going to give anybody help. But if he were to put in Devontae Booker, it should be all right. I think he could be safe right there. He could be safe with Devontae because it's just going to be the load. Yes, Indiana is the number one defense. They're a great run defense. But I think it's going to be one of those games where it's what are you going to do? You're going to put him in. Or you're going to go with the long shot of MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and hopefully getting a fucking touchdown game by an Aaron Rodgers bomb or something. That is the question for me. Hopefully he doesn't have to go through that because Josh Jacobs is out. Chris Carson's questionable. Mike Evans, I'm pretty sure he's questionable. Y'all correct me on that or not. I'm pretty sure he's questionable. He picked up Jalen Hurts. I think he picked him up just for the dynasty. That's a smart move, a veteran move. That's the shit I like to see. On the other side, a team has no name. He has Kyler Murray going up against the New York Giants. The crazy shit right here is that Kyler Murray, he has been not himself, which is the number one ranked fantasy. 18. That's a horrible game. But obviously, he was dealing with the shoulder, and everyone kind of knew it. Everyone kind of seen it, whatever. I think it's getting better, getting stronger. The game to test it on is the New York Giants. You're going to test it on. I think his running ability is going to still put him over that hump of, I guess, 17, 16. Is going to put him at a 18, 19, 20 plus, So Kyler Murray, fine. Justin Jefferson should be fucking fine. I'm not worried about Justin Jefferson going. I mean, as a player, I'm not worried about him doing bad. I am worried going up against Justin Jefferson. Except for, week 15, week 16, he has tough matchups. But next week, Tampa Bay, he has been seeing those targets. Yes, the targets were against Carolina and Jacksonville the last 2 weeks, but that games like that, they make players have how do you say it? Momentum. They give them, it's like a tune-up game for them, So I think he should be all right. Maybe not a 22 or 25 game, but 17, 18, 16. That's what you want in Justin Jefferson. Stephon Diggs should have a good game as well. He's the number one target, first of all. The only thing is I think is going to be good for him that if John Brown is out, because then that's a target less. Because, Cole Beasley has been in that game pretty much. He's pretty much a solid player in that team already. He's solidified. They're going to him a lot, but they're also going to Diggs. That run game hasn't been working, so Diggs should be all right. The real question is T.Y. Hilton. I know the last 2 games, and supposedly the legend is in the fantasy circle or oval or triangle or universe, as they say, is that T.Y. Hilton always does good against Houston. He always does good against Houston. What the fuck? But it's true. Look at this. 21 points. And that's after all season going 7, 4, 6, 4, 9, 1, 0, 6, 5. He puts up 16 and 21 in the last 2 weeks. You know, a part of me hopes for him to do good, and a part of me doesn't because he's on a team that has no name. But I think I think he should lower expectations right here. Yes, the safety for the Raiders is out, so he should be all right. But I think they're going to be focusing on Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman. Like they're going to try to get Jonathan Taylor to run and be the general of that backfield. Similar how Cam Akers did it last night against the New England Patriots. Similar to how Antonio Gibson did it with the football team. Similar to how James Robinson. You're starting to see the switch now. The switch in where I told you earlier that where running backs don't have that long of a lifespan. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to players like Frank Gore, LaShawn McCoy, Adrian Peterson, you know, who are still playing in the game, you know, so that is tough. But I think that's what the Colts are going to do against the Las Vegas defense. They're not that scary of a defense. So Ty, I think he should have like, you know, a wide receiver flex 2 game. Derrick Henry, I have extreme fear of playing against Derrick Henry. I do not want to play him. This is a league winner. This is just a league winner. There's no way they're gonna stop this. And if something stops it, defensive wise, I would love it. I don't want no injury. I don't want no COVID. Obviously, nothing like that. If someone can stop it, please just stop the count. Jacksonville, bruh. Detroit, bruh. Green Bay, bruh. It's just that's not fair. Cam Akers obviously did right. I had a team has no name. Ray hit me up and he was just like, well, I didn't answer, but he was gonna ask like, oh, should I start Cam Akers? And I was just like, yes. But he had already started him, so that was a great part on the team has no name champ. It's just that feeling. It's just the feeling you get. A certain player, like, look, it's like New England defense versus a running backfield from the Rams who you don't even know who the main guy is. It's like, what the fuck? See, it's just that feeling. You feeling those tides turning. Something's happening like in this league now. Like this is not the old NFL of years past. You know, this is a new aged NFL like game now. You're starting to see that shit. It's dope. It's dope to see Cam Akers. I liked him. I wanted to draft him. I thought I could pick him up in waivers, you know, around this time, but a team has no name picked him up earlier in the season, knowing that Sean McVay loved him. He told me knowing that Sean McVay loved him, knowing that he was obviously the most skilled back, knowing that he was rookie, so he has longevity. That's a veteran pickup. I believe he drafted him and dropped him, but then picked him up. I'm not sure, but I know someone drafted him. I'm pretty sure someone drafted him. I wanted to pick him up and draft him and just mold him like Antonio Gibson did. I saw him on waivers too. I believe I seen him on waivers. I might be fucking up. But let me know, Ray. So yeah, Cam Akers, Austin Hooper should be dope against the Baltimore Ravens. You know, they're going to be focusing on that run. They're going to be focused on Jarvis, Rashad Higgins. I think that should leave Hooper open, but depending on how what's his name, Baker Mayfield does, because Baker, whatever he beats last week, like I said, chill. How many times has he not beasted though like that? Chill. But if he has a good game, Austin Hooper, he might be a smash player. Because other than that, he has Jalen Hurst, Hayden Hurst. So what the fuck is wrong with me today? And that's about it. And I like Hooper way more than Hurst. So Galladay, the question with him is like, there's something, okay, I don't know if I'm gonna say it. No, I'm not gonna say it because this has future effects. I'm not gonna say it. But the word on the block is that Kenny Galladay is most likely not gonna play. Is he out? Is that an out? Yes. So he's out, I believe. Or is that a question mark? I'm stupid. I don't know. But word on the block and is that he might not play this game. The thing is, so the thing that interests me right now is J.D. McKissick. only J.D. McKissic right now because I lost Antonio Gibson, and McKissic has been in the passing game. But when you take, there's a certain players where you give them a legit player to bounce off of, they benefit as well. But when that star player is out, and they become a pivotal point in that offense where defenses are actually looking for them and planning for them, that puts a whole different spin on it. I would play J.D. McKissic if I had him. On any other team, I don't think I would. I would let you guys. I mean, I'd let you guys. I would tell you guys to start him because he's going to be in the defensive game plan. Usually, when you got two, like it's like the whole Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley effect. If Julio's in, Ridley's fucking beasting. If Julio Jones is out, Ridley's kind of not beasting. It's that effect where you carry more of the load doesn't necessarily mean that it's better. Same thing with Devontae Booker and Josh Jacobs, Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. You see it all the time in teams where it's like now just because you have the load doesn't mean it's good. So I wouldn't pivot to McKissic. I would on my team if you have Antonio Gibson. I would just for that safety and that feeling of like, yeah, I might get those Antonio Gibson points. But if it was on any other squad, if you didn't have Antonio Gibson, unless you absolutely needed to start him, I wouldn't. Nyheim Hines looks like a good start. Should be all right. But like I said, they're going to be going straight for Jonathan Taylor. They're going to start making him be the captain of that ship, So look at that. Darrell Henderson only had 0.50 points. That just shows, that gives a team has no name, just credibility and reassurance that Cam Akers will be the dude going forward. Tim Patrick is nice. I would like to pick him up in dynasty leagues. So that would be a good. Oh, breaking news. They placed David Johnson on the COVID-19 reserve list. So if you need a running back, pick up Duke Johnson. Tim Patrick, yeah, I wanted him for the dynasty. I don't know if he's going to start Chenault Jr., sorry, because he has so many other pivots, and one of the pivots that I wanted to talk to and I left out intentionally was Kenyon Drake. I know he's a Kenyon Drake believer. Last 3 games has been solid. This next game is going up against the Giants. A lot of people like Arizona to win that game, even if Kyler Murray is injured. So I think Kenyon Drake should be good if Golladay is out, because if Golladay is out, you need a pivot to a for sure win. Whereas this, it's like all the matchups are great for a team that has no name. So I wouldn't be necessarily swinging for the fences. You already got put up 20 with Cam Akers. I think you're playing it safe now, safe enough to where it's like, okay, I think I will for sure get this amount of points rather than I hope to get fucking this amount of points, If you can see me, my hand was lower and higher in those pitches. But yeah, man, Indianapolis defense as well should be all right. Seattle defense should be all right too against them. But I think the Jets score still. But that's that. I want to tell you who I think is going to win so bad. Yeah, I'm not going to give my decision right now. Next week, I'm going to tell you guys how it ended up. So shout out to Champ, shout out to Ray Ray. I believe Ray Ray missed the playoffs last season. So shout out to Ray Ray for making playoffs this season. It's been a pretty cool ride all season for me, pretty much. First week I should have lost, so I should have been 10-3 as well. But that's the way it crumbles. Shout out to Double C Cup, Salvador Delgado, for having the biggest blowout of the week by 56.94 points. Shout out to Jobless for giving me his number round pick. Shout out to P-Top Kevin Bottom, man. Better days are coming. Next season is coming, dog. I know you wanted to make these playoffs. It was tough. Yeah, you probably had the toughest schedule. Mean Machine, shout out to Mean Machine. Michael, yo, you have a good squad. You had the 3 number one picks this season, and you missed playoffs again, bro. You're on the cusp. I feel it. I see it. Your team is still good, but you need to start pulling triggers on trades at the right moment, bro. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. Shout out to Double C Cup this season. He might be the most improved, but then again, I might give it to a team has no name. And I don't want to say me, like I shouldn't even be doing this, but this is just me talking on the mic, whatever, if you want to listen. But it's a battle between them. But Double C Cup, he's made plays this year. I believe he has more or the same amount of wins. I'm not sure. I think he went 3-10 last year. But he made trades. He made big decisions. He made some dumb decisions that got vetoed. I'm not gonna talk about it because fuck y'all. His team is better now for it. Obviously, he scored 150, the most points this week. Big plans next season for him. So next season should be interesting. But for now, good luck to y'all. Good luck to y'all in your playoffs this week. And congratulations to y'all in your bye week. But don't be sleeping. Just relax, all right? Peace the fuck out.